Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're already watching me again, welcome back. If you're new, just welcome. um, I'm here doing a VR to Amethyst Ascension. She just created a hashtag when the tarot asks or when the oracle asks. I'm gonna do the tarot. Um, I found her questions very insightful, almost like, well, actually an in-depth review almost of a deck, you know. The thing is, it's not the questions we ask. Yeah, it's like the questions are being asked by your deck, you know. So that sounded really fun. I watched her video. I think she used an oracle or a tarot and oracle. Um, anyway, I was thinking about well, like I said, I didn't really need to think that long, but when I was thinking about how she approached it, there was actually only one deck that popped in my mind, which is the Thoth Tarot. So let's dive into it. I got my questions here. So let's just dive in, and in the meantime, I will show a little bit. The first question was, what drew you to me to begin with? Well, actually, pure rebellion. A long time ago, I'm not that old, but a long time ago, when I started to dip my toes into tarot, I went into, well, a little shop, and I asked around because my foundation is playing cards. So the lady, of course, gave me the RWS, and she talked to me a little bit about the systems mostly used. And then she mentioned, you know, the Thoth deck, but she was more like, well, I don't think you're gonna be ready for that. I think you should start with the, well, Rider-Waite. And yeah, this is what I said. It was pure rebellion, because the moment she said I could not do it, you know, I was like, oh, I'm going to show you, you know. So this is how I actually got this deck. I took the Rider-Waite too, but I was like, no, I want the Toast too. And I don't regret it. But yeah, that is how I actually got drew to the deck. Somebody told me I couldn't, so well, I had to. Okay, the second question was, do you use me more seasonally? Very quick answer, no. No, I don't. I don't work seasonally to begin with, you know, so especially not with this deck. Moving on, number 3. Do I feel like a certain zodiac sign to you? Well, it's the Thoth Tarot, and I'm a Scorpio. If I really need to put that in a realm, I'm gonna put it in that realm, because according to my birthday, I'm in the Western astrology, I'm a Scorpio sun sign. When you would look at the Egyptian zodiac, yeah, I'm gonna be associated with Thoth. And this is the Thoth Tarot. So if I'm going to associate it with a Western astrology or zodiac sign, it's definitely going to be the Scorpio. Also because it has something mysterious over it, this deck, right? So some people say you either love it or you hate it, and I'm not always agreeing with that statement. I think there is this shroud of mystery around this deck, and people fear what they don't know. And I think the Scorpio has that too. It has that mysterious thing going on, and people have this assumption about a Scorpio. Once they get to know you, it's a very different thing. So yeah, if I need to put it there, yeah, I'm gonna put it on a Scorpio. Okay, question number 4. How do I make you feel about yourself? Well, I have moments I feel stupid. Like, okay, I should have known that. And there are moments I'm very wise, like it's just validating, you know, my own answers almost, things that I know. But it always teaches me something. So whichever way it goes, I always end up leaving a reading with this deck, better than I came in with it. So overall, it really does give me a good feeling, I always feel like it's there for me. It knows what I want. It doesn't always give me what I want, but it gives me what I need. I hope that answers the question. Number 5. How do I help you to make you see yourself more clearly? Well, by being truthful, This deck never lies to me. Like I said, it doesn't always tell me what I want, but it always gives me what I need. And that's sometimes a doses of pure truth, right? There are moments I feel like it's rubbing it in my face. Then there are moments it can tell it a little bit gentler, but it always gives me the truth, so in that sense, it definitely brings that clarity to me, and how I look at myself in that sense. Yeah. Okay, number 6. Do you use me to read for others, or do you keep me all to yourself? Well, this is where we come again to, Thoth is not a deck loved by all, So in this sense, it's not one I would pick myself for another. And this particular deck is really me, but I got multiple versions in multiple sizes and multiple printings. If somebody would ask me to read with the Thoth for them, I would do it, I would love to do it. I will not use this deck, but the Thoth deck in itself. But yeah, that doesn't always happen. Practically never. It might have been once in a blue moon, but that's really like the exception, So most of the time that answer is no. This is just my deck. Okay, moving on. 7. Do you let others touch me? Well, people I don't know, I live with my daughter. And sometimes if I'm busy or she walks by, I let her touch my decks, right? Grab me my deck. Yeah. Oh, if you go there, take me my deck, right? If I want it. I have no problem with my daughter touching it. That's a pure spirit, but especially the one that's really for me, I would not let anybody touch it. If I would do a reading for somebody else, I think Amethyst Ascension said the same thing. Like if you do a reading for somebody else, you want them to shuffle, you want them to touch, to really get that essence right. And then it would be with a deck that I would use for others. But overall, no, don't touch my decks. Okay, next question. Number 8. Have you done any alterations on me or plan to? Well, yes. I have other decks. This is the only one that's altered. Yeah, I took the borders off. I didn't etch it because, well, this cardstock, I feel like it might bleed, and I don't want to, well, mess it up. I already have it for so long, so I just cut the borders, that's it. But yeah, I did alter this deck in that sense. Okay, the next question. Number 9. How best have you bonded with me? Well, I bonded with this deck, like I said. It was Rebellion. 1 second, my cat. Hey, be quiet. It was a bit of rebellion, because they said, well, I shouldn't, I really wanted to, and then it was something like, okay, I will show you, right? Again, that rebellion. So that I really dove in this deck, because the way she said it, it was almost like, that feeling when they ban a book? You never heard of that book, but the moment they ban it, you want to read it because you're like, okay, what's in that book that people don't want me to know? Well, this is how I felt with this deck, She made it sound like, oh, something, and I was like, okay, there's something there. I need to know what's there. So, And yeah, over the years, yeah, yeah, just keep using the deck. I think we live in a time. 1 second. Sorry, my cat was attacking the bench. um, yeah, like I said, I think we live in a time, and this conversation is all over YouTube, right? Capitalist, and we buy all these decks and all that stuff, you know. Um, the I don't mind buying decks. I buy decks, you know. I'm no different than anybody else. I how do you say that? I'm very peculiar with which decks I want to buy, but at the same time, I'm still buying decks, you know. However, I think if you're new to tarot in this time, yeah, I think you have that danger of not truly bonding with a deck. Yeah, I think for us, well, older folks out there, that were, well, practicing tarot, yeah, in it, or even oracle, any kind of divination, right? In a time where there were only yet a few decks available, we were actually, well, almost forced in that sense, right, to really bond with the decks we had. Because these were the only ones there, so we kept using them, yeah, day in, day out for years. Um, as I did with this one, you know. And then yeah, this explosion came, right, of how many new decks a month. And like I said, I'm not immune. I'm definitely not immune. Yeah, I too, yeah, buy my decks. Some are just too beautiful, yeah, to pass up. Um, but yeah, how I have bonded, yeah, with this kind of with this deck in particular is because of years and years of using it, yeah, of not looking at other decks. Like I said, I did have the RWS, and I had my playing cards, so yeah, I was still, of course, also dabbling in other decks. But that's a very big difference nowadays, right? The three decks that I had then compared to, well, let's be honest with each other. How many decks do we actually have in our closet? Between 50 and 100? I mean, you know what I mean? So, and then it's gonna be very hard to really bond with a deck, you know? But okay, enough about that. Let's move on. I'm preaching here. I don't mean to. um, Number 10, it asks, how well can you shuffle me? Oh, I love the shuffle. It's that AGM, right? That Belgian cardstock. Um, I love the shuffle of this one. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. The bigger ones, I mostly shuffle like this, you know, because, well, it's too big. The smaller versions I have, I can do the same as with this one, you know. So it shuffles perfectly, nothing wrong with it. Number 11. Does my size hinder or help you? Well, because I have multiple versions, I have the big green, I have the that older, that vintage one that's bigger, I have a mini one, I have the puckered or the purple kind of one. So yeah, the green one is bigger. This one was a green one, and I cut that down. And yeah, this is my favorite. So I love the green box kind of style, the bigger ones, right? And the vintage ones, even because they're big, you know, they're great for study, right? Now with the deck and walk, yeah, I love to put the bigger ones out, the cards that are used in the planets or signs or whatever, you know, to really get a great visual. So not per se, but I can understand somebody with smaller hands, because even I got smaller hands, that the bigger ones can be annoying, but the toast is there in all sizes. If you're new, buy a smaller one. If you're further along and the big ones are too big, you can always cut them down, you know? So not really a hinder, but I could understand somebody finding it a little bit too big. Number 12. Do you get excited or turned off about my cardstock? Oh no, I love this cardstock. Yeah, not too thick. It's thinner, yeah, but it's, I don't know, I like the AGM cardstock. The Margaret Peterson is also that same kind of cardstock. Now I love it. Of course, each their own. In all honesty, I'm not really a cardstock snob. Yeah, if I love the deck, I don't care where it's printed on. Yeah, as long as it can work, you know. um, so no, I love my cardstock. Then the next question was number 13. How do you use me? And then there were different prompts, and I see now I kind of forgot to put them down. But let me, on the top of my head, I think she meant emotionally. I can definitely use this deck emotionally, yeah? If I'm not feeling it, you know, and I just want a quick answer. In all honesty, I think I prefer my playing cards for that, but I could do it with this. I have done it with the toes. Ritual or magic? Yes, I love to use my toes in ritual. I think it sings in ritual almost. Shadow work, definitely. I can use it for shadow work. I don't know if these were there because, again, I kind of forgot to write the subjects. Oh my god, I'm sorry. My cat. Oh yes. What I don't know what else she got, but maybe psychological. You know, I can definitely do that with this deck as well because well, it definitely does have an edge to it for me. You know, so I can definitely use it. I don't think that I have a practice that I would not use this for. You know, because we have multiple options now. We might grab a deck, you know, that might fit a little bit better in that subject. But I did love readings with this. I did job readings with this. I did psychological, emotional, shadow, ritual, magic. I did everything with this deck. Now, of course, ancestor, for me, very important. I did ancestor work with this deck. But because, again, we live in a time, you know, where multiple different kind of genre decks are coming out, I cannot lie, there are some, for example, ancestor work. I prefer now a different kind of deck to really make that connection with my ancestors. However, I could still do it with this deck. If tomorrow I would go on a trip and I would put this one in my pocket, I don't need to take anything else. I can do anything I want with this deck. So I can use this in any kind of way I please, in that sense, you know. Okay, question number 14. Do you feel another entity speaking through me? Well, no, in all honesty. For me, okay, now we're gonna go a little bit in well, some people might not like that. I'm gonna do it anyway. This is, well, my VR. For me, I think I mentioned this before, tarot is not my main practice. Yeah, I'm a root worker. I practice hoodoo. Divination is a big part of that. Yeah, but when I divine, when I go to my cards, it's a conversation between me and spirit. Yeah, so I don't feel like spirit is speaking through this. Spirit is speaking through my intuition. I'm gonna see what it is that my intuition is telling me, you know. If I really want to label it, then for me, yeah, spirit is speaking through my cards, you know, because any deck I'm using, I have that conversation with spirit. Except when I do an ancestor reading, I'm having that conversation with my ancestors, which are, yeah, entity. You could call it an entity, right? So depending on what kind of reading I do, you know, yes, like I said, spirit or ancestors, these are my two main communicators in that sense. Number 15. Do you set the scene when using me? Candles, incense, music, etc. Well, it depends. If I stand up in the morning and I got my cup of coffee and I want to lay some cards down, then no. Yeah, that is almost a ritual in itself in the morning, you know. When I do ritual work or magical work, yes, because that in itself is the ritual, right? If I would, for example, make a money bowl or a money jar, I have my green candle and I have my money herbs, and you know what I mean? Like if I would place cards, then it's in that ritual. If I do ancestor work, yeah, I will have my white candle, yeah. and I have some ancestral oil and all of that. So when I do magic or ritual, I don't like to call it magic, but when I do ritual work, that is very specific. So then I would set the scene. Yeah. Music wise, it depends. In the evening when I'm relaxing and I put on my record, which will always be reggae. I don't want to lay some cards, but that's more like, okay, that's happening in the same time, you know. It depends on, I think, what kind of reading I do, if I will really set a whole scene or not. Number 16, do you associate me with a deity? No. And if I would, it's gonna be Thoth. It's the Thoth tarot. Thoth, the Egyptian god, yeah, of wisdom and knowledge. I think this deck is a very intelligent and wise deck. So maybe not per se, but if I had to, it would definitely be Thoth. Number 17, do you see me as a friend or tool or both? Okay, I know, I know, I don't think it's meant like that, but yeah, friend is a big word. Yeah, we throw that around too easy nowadays, in my opinion. Yeah. For me, my decks are companion, are guides. Yeah. I do personify my decks. Yeah. My Thoth, even though Thoth is a he, but sometimes I say she, but most of the times I say he. Yeah, he. And I have other decks that are definitely a she. So, yeah. I don't see it as a friend. I also don't see it as a tool, yeah. But I definitely see it as a guide, you know, because with a friend we're more well, friendly, yeah, while with a guide I have more reverence. I hope you understand what I'm saying if I say it like that. So it's not in a friendly way, like I'm just, you know, it's more with reverence that I lay these cards down. In all honesty, I do with most of my decks, you know. Because again, for me, every time it's a conversation with spirits, yeah. And when that happens, that is a moment of reverence, yeah. I'm asking for help, and it's not the same as I would be on the phone, yapping, talking, you know, with my friend, and being all, well, friendly. It's hard to say what I actually mean. I hope you understand what I mean. So more as a guide, I think. Yeah, like I said, it has the reverence to it. Okay, question number 18. Do you use me in an everyday kind of way or once in a while? Okay, very easy, everyday. Yeah. I think this is why I picked this deck, even though I too, like I said, I'm no different. I got multiple decks, yeah. But if I look at every deck I own, and I would say which is the most used deck I have, it would be the Thoth Tarot. So every day, definitely. Number 19, do you feel seen when you are using me or when we talk? Oh, yes. And I think that's also because I have this deck already for so long. This is not a new deck, you know. I don't have this deck for a year or 2 years. I have this deck. Well, how old am I now? I'm reaching my 40s. Well, almost 20 years. Yeah. I'm already working with the Thoth Tarot, yeah, for almost 20 years. So I definitely feel seen. Yeah. I know this deck, and I know he knows me, you know? So 20, does my art speak to you in a special way? Well, this is the thing, because I just said I'm almost now 20 years in the Thoth, and I'm so used to it. And I know that's like taking it for granted a little bit, right? I do remember that when I first got it, I loved this way more than the RWS, yeah? There was this mystique about it, this mystery, and every time I looked, I saw something new, and I didn't really have that with the RWS. So this art definitely spoke to me more, and it still does, you know. It definitely speaks in a special way to me, but I'm so used to it now. It's like, yeah, it's just something I know, you know. I wish that I could go back at a certain point and look at that again with fresh eyes, right? But yeah, then I need to do all the studies again too. So I'm good. I'm good. Next question. What kind of story do you see in me? Well, the story of me, you know. Um, in those 20 years, I think every card, yeah, has been pulled. And every card, if I really want to think about it, I can remember a special reading, you know? Um, so this for me is this Egyptian kind of wisdom, because I know it's connected to the Hermetic order and stuff like that, yeah. But Aleister Crowley, he was very much into Egypt. He didn't call this deck the Thoth for nothing, you know. Um, there's definitely something about this deck. And because I've been working with it for so long, this is my story. In every card, there is a story of a period of my life when I pulled that card, you know, that either, well, smacked me in the face because it was so truthful, or it comforted me, you know, or it actually told me the truth when I didn't want to face the truth. So with this particular deck, yeah, in this deck, it's a story of me. Okay, next question, number 22. Did that come with a guidebook? And if so, do you like it and use it with me? I think these ones came with that little white book. I was not particularly fond of them then, and I'm still not really fond of them now. You can, of course, buy the Book of Thoth by Crowley itself, and nowadays even you got more books, you know. I did like the Book of Crowley. I know a lot of people are like, well, you cannot make headways of it, you know, because, well, he's all over the place, which in all honesty is my mind, you know. So there was this thing going on that I actually understood, which was fun, but still, you know. I still needed to read that more than once, yeah, but still, there was definitely, but yeah, you don't get that with the deck. That is a separate add-on that you need to buy. So yeah, the little white book, not too fond of that one, but I think for a beginner, you get that beginning, you know, you get that reading going. So, okay, next question, number 23. Do I have any add-on or special system? Well, system, yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I don't see a system around this. The add-ons, like I said, the Book of Thoth by Aleister Crowley himself, and that was in my time. But yeah, now in this time, yeah, I know we got books on study and the symbology and in depth, and I don't know what else, you know. There are definitely add-ons and system books now, you know, to really get a deep dive into this deck. I never really had to use them because, well, again, I'm old school. Yeah, we didn't have all that crap, yeah, when I grew up. Of course, we had some books here and there, yeah, but not like we have nowadays, right? This deck and me, it was like, well, here you are, and, well, it's up to you, you know, to find out what I'm talking about. Okay, next question. 24. Do I have any other markings that help or distract you? Well, no. With the borders, you have the titles, of course, or, well, the titles for the minors, and the majors, the names, you know. They never really distracted me. Like I said, I just have all these forms. I have the original green, or the original, I mean, sorry, seriously, I'm talking Dutch. I have the US Games green big box. I got the smaller boxes. I got an original one. This one was also the green big box that I cut down. So it has the markings in the original form, you know. They never really distracted me because I still have them. After so many uses, I know what is, and I saw somebody do this, and I was like, oh, I can do that too, and I actually love it, you know. So I always seem to use this one. And then the last question, would you recommend me to a beginner and why? Well, that depends. Yeah. I know a lot of people say Thoth is not for a beginner, but I was a beginner too, you know. I think I'm going to go back to the rant I had before. We live in this commercialized time. If you cannot stop yourself from buying a new deck every other month, then no. Don't go with the Thoth, because you will never get that in-depth knowledge if you don't um put the time in this deck, or any other deck for that matter, in my opinion, you know. However, if you want to start tarot and you're like, you know what, I don't got the money for all that crap, I just want one good deck, yeah, oh, then hell yes. Sorry. Then by all means, buy the Thoth, buy yourselves a few good books, you know, and start that dive. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed, you know. But again, if it's just something that you want to start to study in a moment, and yeah, you spend there a few months or even a year or two with, you know, and then you put that aside again, then yeah, it's not gonna do you much good, because let's be honest, even whole educations yet, it take longer than a year, you know. And this deck has many layers. Yeah, it's not just the pictures, it's not just the numerology, the elemental, the Kabbalah. I mean, it has so many layers, and that is something worth studying. If you're just gonna take the surface layer, then yeah, you can, of course. Who am I to judge you, right? I don't mean this. I know it might sound that way. I don't mean that in a judgmental way. But if you really want to know the Thoth, work with the Thoth on a deeper level, yeah, then by all means, but take your time, you know. Don't rush yourself, and really dive in. So yes, I would recommend it to a beginner. But again, yeah, if it's about getting the newest deck, the most beautiful deck today and tomorrow and next week again, then yeah, I don't know if the Thoth is really gonna be for you, you know. But of course, you can always give it a try. Please give it a try. Maybe you fall in love and you will sell all your other decks. No, I'm joking. I mean, I'm in love with this deck, and I'm not going to be selling all my other decks. But yes, in all honesty, I would recommend it, but you're gonna need to take your time, you know, to really get into the system. And that was the last question, right? That was not too bad. I think I did good. I have no idea. I cannot see the time. The phone is well, hanging above me. But I think I did not do too bad, right? Yeah, see the shuffle. The shuffle is beautiful. So yes, this was my VR. I hope I answered the questions in the right way. And I don't mean to come off judgmental. Don't get me wrong, you know, sometimes it's hard. English is not my mother tongue, yeah, to articulate very well, because like I said, I ain't no better. This is not my only deck, and I think I can never go back to just one or two decks, you know. But yeah, it's a special one. I love this one. So these were my answers to When the Tarot Asks. I hope to see you all soon, and thank you for watching again. Have a beautiful day. Okay, bye-bye.